Without further ado, I now introduce you the speaker for the day. We have Miss Lea Gracilla. She's a principal, MDC Special Ed Center. Ma'am is a principal of a private special needs school in the Philippines, has more than 12 years of experience teaching special needs children both in public and private schools. Ma'am has conducted various training sessions and seminars on how children with autism, ADHD, learning disability, behavioral problems, intellectual disability can be taught. She also provides integrated guidance and counseling in the field of special education to parents of children with special needs. Her other skills include psychoeducational assessment, functional behavioral assessment, how to plan an intervention, and also how one can implement that program. She's a member of two international honor societies. It's a pleasure to have you with us, ma'am. Before I hand over it to Lea, ma'am, I would like to inform you all that the session is for 2 hours. 1 hour of expert sharing or the knowledge, and the other hour where all your queries would be answered by the expert speaker. And also, after 5 to 10 minutes, the chat settings would be switched to only hosts and panelists. Wishing you all a very happy learning. Over to you, Lea, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, Shivani, for that very great introduction. So allow me to share my screen now.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, is my screen clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you once again. And this is actually my third time to facilitate workshops here at FLT. And I'm still overwhelmed by all the supports and interest of the participants to partake in the discussion. So 2 days ago, there was over 3,000 participants who registered. So thank you so much. I know that you are very eager to learn, and I'm very grateful that I could share some of my knowledge with you, that I know that you are really putting all your efforts in helping our children in your workplaces or in your classroom, even if right now we are on virtual classroom situations. And again, since you are very participative, we have prepared a lot for you today, actually, and these are going to be very engaging. So I'm encouraging everyone to participate. So without further ado, let us begin with the discussion about how to determine proficiency levels for literacy and numeracy skills in children with academic challenges. Okay, so the previous workshop, which I also handled, was about the role of assessment in identification of academic challenges. Okay, so from that discussion, we learned that identification is very important in screening and identifying learners or children who would benefit from special education services. So this is a process wherein we really look at the different challenges or difficulties that these children are having. And also, we looked into the importance of early identification. On that particular topic, we were able to establish that with early identification, it would help a lot of children to get or to have early intervention, meaning their skills would be developed early on. And so if there is early intervention applied or implemented to them, there will be more progress, or the outcome would be better. And then last part of that presentation or workshop was about a particular screening tool wherein we use that tool to be able to identify specific early signs or red flags for learning difficulties among children. Okay, so for this workshop now, I am going to walk you through first on the foundation knowledge about literacy skills and numeracy skills, because we are going to use this information in using the various tools mentioned there. And these are the literacy skills observation checklist, the numeracy skills observation checklist, and the handwriting skills observation checklist. And after this, I will also give some insights on what steps to do after we use these screening tools. And last part of that is our takeaways. Okay, so what is literacy then? So literacy is the ability to read, write, speak, and listen in a way that allows us to communicate effectively and make sense of the world around us. So the knowledge, skills, and processes of reading and writing are covered primarily in the English or language subjects in the general curriculum. Reading and writing are crucial skills and a large part of literacy skills. But simply having those skills does not make one literate. And so, literacy is also applying the skills of reading, writing, speaking, and listening to new and varied contexts. So what does this mean? So reading and writing should be applied in varied academic contexts, such as when we are going to read, for example, periodic table in chemistry subject. So it's another context or another subject area, but we are also using our reading skills. Or when we are going to write an essay after we have read some literature or literary materials. Also, we can use our literacy skills in terms of speaking skills. For example, doing or performing spoken poetry, which is very familiar right now or very famous right now. We can do that. For example, we want to share about a topic that we are really interested in. So we can do spoken poetry. And also, we have the skills of listening. For example, listening into some audio materials to be able to learn a content. So application of these skills are also evident in our social interaction with other people. So there's also the presence of pragmatic language, which is our ability to use language in an appropriate way on how we can communicate accurately or properly with others. And so there is two features of communication in literacy, wherein we acquire information through reading, also with viewing and listening, and we communicate our thoughts and our ideas through speaking or through nonverbal expressions, and or creating visual images, or the combination of all of these skills. Okay, now I'm going to task analyze or explain these particular skills into details. So first, we have the language skills. So this is composed of the receptive language and the expressive. So receptive language refers to how a child understands language. So we will notice that children are having problems with receptive language if that particular child is having problems with, for example, following instructions, or the child has problems with difficulty with interacting with others, or the child has difficulty understanding conversations. And listening skills are divided into receptive skills are divided into two, which are first, listening skill or the ability to decode the meaning of spoken words, and reading or the ability to decode the meaning of written words. And the next one is, as I said a while ago, is the expressive language. This one has to do with how a child communicate her thoughts and ideas through words or nonverbal communication skills. Okay, so problems with expressive language are evident when a child has a limited vocabulary. So with limited vocabulary, it will be hard for the child to express what he wants, what he needs, because he or she doesn't have the words to say what she wants or what she needs. And this expressive language is divided into speaking or ability to encode thoughts and concepts into oral form, and writing or the ability to encode thoughts and concepts into written form. Okay, next we have listening skills. So there are different processes and skills which are very important to be able to have good listening skills. First is receiving or hearing or receiving sounds. So we use our ears to listen intently to someone who is talking. And then also we have focusing or paying attention to the sound. We intentionally focus on hearing someone or another person's message so that we can understand him or her. Next is deciphering. It means decoding the words received and focused upon. So in this process, we attempt to understand what the person is telling us. Next is accepting. So this one is refers to interpreting the message as intended by the speaker. So in this process, we try to recognize the meaning of the message based on what the speaker or what the person we are talking to is trying to say to us or convey to us. And then the last one is storing. So this is putting the accepted message in mind for future use. So storing of information is very important so that we can easily recall it when it is necessary for us to do so. Okay, another part of the literacy is our reading skills. So in this, we have four skills under it. So the sub-skills are first, decoding or sounding out words. So decoding is the first step in reading. So children can decode words by understanding that each letter of the alphabet has its corresponding sound. So when they learn that each letter has a corresponding sound, they will be able to read the words on text or the written words, and then they're going to isolate these letter sounds, and after that blend those sounds to be able to say the word as a whole. So this is a very important and foundation skills in reading. So the child should be taught really how to decode letter sounds. And then we also have vocabulary, and it is understanding the meaning of words. So it is manifested that a child has a good vocabulary skills if, for example, he reads a particular word in one text, and then he reads it again in another text, and then she can still remember what the meaning of that word is. And also with vocabulary, children should be taught or should have the skill of identifying sight words. So sight words are words frequently seen in many speeches or in books, and these are words that cannot be sounded out. So children should be able to memorize them. So these words are examples are the, is, were, was, and said. So children should learn this or should improve their vocabularies as well. Okay, next we have fluency, or reading accurately with expression and proper reading speed. And take note that in fluency, it is not just about how good the child pronounces the word or how accurate and how fast or how nice it is to hear, but it is also about comprehension. So some children would really read very good with accent, with proper diction, and all of those things. But the problem is, are they really comprehending what they are saying or what they are reading? Okay, so that's where comprehension skills come in. So it's understanding the meaning of the text read. So for this one, the child should be able to decode words and also to recognize sight words. And then if the child is already fluent and proficient with all of these skills, the child would be able also to, for example, it's very important in reading stories, like you have to identify the characters, the plot, and so on and so forth. So, and also when a child has good comprehension skills, he or she would be able to infer, to evaluate, and to retell stories. Next, we have speaking skills. So for this one, speaking skills is the ability to convey information or express one's thoughts and feelings in spoken language. So sub skills are fluency. So speaking comfortably and confidently. So a child with great speaking skills could speak in a fluent manner for an extended period of time. And also that the things that the child is talking about has some coherence. So that is a good skill, fluency skill. Another again part of speaking skill is vocabulary, or using a variety of words when speaking. So being a good speaker means growing one's vocabulary. And the best way to grow, to improve our vocabulary is to read more books. And then if we encounter a word that we do not know, so we teach the child to take note of the word, and then help we us as teacher, we can help the child to find the meaning of that word, and then like take down notes, so that next time that the child would be encountering that word, the child would be able to understand it and also use it on her speaking or on her expressing of her thoughts and ideas. Okay, next is grammar, or using proper agreements of the different parts of speech. So this includes the basic skill of correct subject-verb agreement, the correct usage of adjectives, of adverbs, and the appropriate arrangement of words or phrases in a sentence. So it is also about syntax, and these skills are needed to be able to tell or to say accurately what we want or what we want to express to other people. And lastly is pronunciation, or saying the words clearly so it is understood by others. So this one, to be able to convey our selves, also to express ourselves, we should be able to let others understand what what words we are really saying. So that has to do with pronunciation. Okay, so and the last one for the literacy skill, we have writing skills. So there are skills, sub skills under the writing skills. So first we have handwriting or writing by hand using a writing instrument. So in this one, children have to know the different ways on how to write a letter, or the different letter formations, the slant, the spaces, and so on and so forth. Okay, so next is spelling or naming and writing the letters of a word. So this skill involves the use of working memory, because to be able to spell, you have to think of the letters of the word and at the same time to write it or to say it aloud. And then in this new age of technology, the skill of keyboarding or typing is really very important. So keyboarding means typing words or information in an electronic device, because most teachers at this age, we really require students to submit outputs in written, encoded, or written form or computer generated. And also, along with writing skills, we also have to have a good skill at on capitalization or using capital letters appropriately in writing. So children should learn that there are certain rules for capitalization. For example, if you are going to use a proper noun in a sentence, the first letter should be capitalized. Or if you are or common nouns can be capitalized, the first letter can be capitalized if it's at the beginning of the sentence. So those rules the child really has to learn. Okay, next is punctuation. Okay, using punctuation marks is in a sentence aids interpretation, because with the use of punctuation, we are telling the one who is reading our material or the one that we wrote, we are telling the expression or the emotions or feelings associated with the sentence. For example, so if it's an exclamatory sentence, we put an exclamation point, or if it's just a declarative sentence, we put a period. So children should be able to recognize all those punctuations. And lastly is structure, or combining words or sentences to express a coherent thought or idea. Okay, so these skills are all part of the difficulty areas for children with learning and academic challenges. So it is really important for us to really see and identify which of these areas the child is really having problems with, to be able for us also to specify our instruction and our strategies on teaching them. Okay, now we come to numeracy skills. So numeracy is the ability to use, interpret, and communicate mathematical information to solve real-world problems. So arithmetic actually is very interesting to learn. But since this particular subject, the math subject in our curriculum is abstract, is really an abstract. It involves a lot of abstract concepts. Most children during their elementary years or primary years, they are still enjoying the math subjects. But when they move on to say grade 4, grade 5, or grade 6, and on the secondary level, so this this is when all the problems come in, because topics on math or arithmetic are becoming so difficult already. Okay, so also numeracy is the ability to understand basic math like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and apply it in practical situations. Okay. So these are the numeracy skills. Sorry. Okay, so first we have math vocabulary, number sense, counting, calculation techniques, and number facts. And I will discuss them one by one. Okay, so math vocabularies refer to the different vocabulary words that we use in math. So for example, we have the plus sign. So what does it mean? It means add, addition, altogether, both, more, plus, sum, total. So, and so on with subtraction, multiplication, and division. So these concepts are very important for the child to really learn what these symbols or what these word numbers mean to us. Okay, next we have number sense. So here we have the three areas of number sense, which is counting. So number sense, if you are to compare it with the reading skills, this is comparable with phonetics. Okay, so this is the basic and foundational skills for a child to be really have a good grasp or knowledge and skill of arithmetic or mathematics. So number sense include counting. So the child should be able to count. The basic counting skills is the base 10. And then the child should also learn how to skip count. And then also included is whole and parts, which is the fractions. So fractions are equal parts of a whole. So they should be able to understand that concept. And also with proportional thinking or proportions, or comparing or telling how much or how less as a number is. Okay. Okay. Next we have calculation techniques. So for this one, we have the different operations, okay, order of operations, and this is also about comparing and computing. So like making calculations of amounts, of sizes, and other measurements. Okay, number facts are basic also. This is still related with the different operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division that children should be able to recall instantly. And also in terms of, for example, the multiplication table. So the child will not think of another process on how to arrive at the answer for a certain multiplication sentence. So the child should automatically know that 1 times 1 is 1 and 2 times 1 equals 2, something like that. And number facts also include square numbers, even numbers, odd numbers, reciprocals, prime factors, prime numbers, multiples, and factors. Okay, so now, according to research, literacy and numeracy skills help learners gain fundamental skills necessary to achieve success in life. Okay, so we use arithmetic skills and calculations to apply it into practical life. For example, in making purchases, in calculating for the change, in paying bills or in sewing, for example, because we have to measure. Also in cooking, we have to measure also, and in telling time. Okay, the development of literacy and numeracy skills increases the confidence and competence of the children within the subjects. So when children become fluent and competent with their skills, foundational skills in literacy and numeracy, it makes them feel empowered and know that they are going to understand the complex levels of subjects that are going to be required to them as they go on to a higher grade level. Okay, now we come to the highlight of this presentation. So now we have our checklist, and these are used as screeners. Again, I have to remind everybody that checklists are used not to diagnose a certain condition. It is used to help us identify the different strengths and weaknesses of the child, or to identify if the child is having difficulties with, in this case, literacy, numeracy, and handwriting. Okay, for this part, I'm going to introduce to you some case scenarios, and then we are going to identify the different skill areas that the child is having difficulties with, and then we will proceed to the to how we use the checklist. Okay, so you can type in your answers on the chat box, and Shivani would help me in reading the answers.
Sure.
Okay, so is everyone ready? I see in the chat box. Okay, yes?
Yes.
Estella? Yeah, yes. Okay. So the participants are very active. Okay, so I think we can already start. Okay, so case number 1. Okay, so Benjur is a grade 4 pupil who attends regular English class. Since the start of the quarter, his teacher has been noticing that he reads slower than his classmates. He mispronounces words and makes many spelling errors. Furthermore, he does not seem to understand simple stories read to him and has difficulty sounding out simple words. Okay, so first we are going to identify the different literacy skills that Benjur is having problems with. Okay, so can you please type in your answers?
They say reading skills, problem with decoding, speaking skills, dysgraphia, language skills, reading skills, speaking, listening comprehension, decoding, reading, speaking, reading comprehension, reading and speaking, dyslexia, reading, decoding, speaking, phonics, reading comprehension skills, dyslexia, reading, decoding, fluency, dyslexia, comprehending content of text, reading without sounding of words, decoding, comprehension, literacy skills, reading, listening, and speaking. So all of these are on those lines.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much, Shivani. Okay, so for this one, all the answers are correct. But we have to really identify, for example, what is the specific problem with reading. So in this case, it is that Benjur reads slower than his classmates. So our word here is reads slower. Okay, so that when we go to the checklist, we'll be able to really spot or identify the skill that we are trying to observe. And also, in terms of speaking, so Benjour mispronounces words, okay? And then in writing, he makes spelling errors. Okay, so this would help us in looking at the observation checklist specifically. And in terms of understanding, speaking as well, he has difficulty sounding out simple words. Okay, so now how can we help his teacher identify Benjour's specific learning challenges? So now we come to the checklist. Let me just share my screen. Other one for the checklist. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, so I'll just go to the details. Okay, again, this checklist is adapted from the National Center for Learning Disabilities checklist. And the objective is to help caregivers and educators to identify early signs of literacy challenges in children. And it can be used with children between 6 to 16 years of age. Okay, so for this one, I will tweak it a bit. So the previous workshop is that you answered while taking in mind a particular child that you cater to, or particular child that you teach, or your own child. But this time, we are going to use Benjour's case in identifying the different difficulties, okay, in literacy. So now, take note of the different difficulties that we mentioned a while ago. So now, keep in mind that we are trying to identify Benjour's challenges. Okay. So again, his challenges were he reads slower, he mispronounces words, he makes spelling errors, and then difficulty sounding out words and letters. Okay, so let's now, you can type in the chat box your answers as I go along with the checklist. Okay, in language skills, do you think that Benjour has difficulties with understanding simple instructions? Shivani, can you please help me with?
Yes, ma'am. So they are, most of them are giving the answer of yes.
Okay, yes. Can you defend your answer why it is yes?
Most of them are saying yes, actually all. Just a few no's in between.
So yes, reading skills problem. But the question is problems with understanding simple instructions. No, oh, I can see there's no. Okay, so the answer for this one is, let me just this.
They have defend saying no, it was not mentioned in the case.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. So that's the correct answer actually. So again, remember, my dear teachers and parents, really have to look at the case. Okay, so this one, again, reminder please, we are not thinking of our own child or student anymore. So we are using Benjer's case to be able to identify the different difficulties. Okay, so is that clear? Okay. Okay, next is, does Benjer have problems with learning to speak fluently? What are your answers? Yes,
No,
yes,
yes.
no, yes.
Or not
Also
mentioned.
not mentioned. Maybe Shivani, can we like share that particular slide and at the same time with this? Because
No,
I
ma'am, that
think
won't.
they
You'll have
know.
to stop this share and.
Oh, okay. So should be able to recall. So that's part of our literacy skill, recalling. Okay. So yes, the answer is yes, because let me just check. Yes. Okay, because he pronounces words, and he has also difficulties with sounding out words, meaning it also affects his ability to speak fluently. Okay, number 3, naming people or objects during conversations. So what is your answer? 3 is yes, no,
Not
no, yes, not mentioned. Okay, I saw the answer
because
already. Yes,
no,
yes,
not meant.
no, no, yes, no, not mentioned. Not mentioned. Okay, that's right. It wasn't mentioned um in the case or in our case scenario. Okay, so number 4, rhyming words. What do you think?
No, not mentioned.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
not mentioned. Yes.
No, not mentioned. Yes, because it's a part of reading. Even though not mentioned, there'll be a problem because the child has reading difficulty. Yes, because he has difficulty in sounding words.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. That's the right answer I'm waiting for. Okay, so since he has problems sounding out words, he also has probably would have difficulty with rhyming words. Okay, so this would be checked. Okay, and then number 5, reading and writing their own name, or reading or writing Benjer's name. Yes,
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 yes, no,
no, not necessarily. Okay.
mentioned.
Yeah, not mentioned. Actually, it wasn't
He has
mentioned here.
difficulty in spelling. So that could be a concern, is what one of the participants
Yeah,
said.
that could be the case, but since my answer here would be no. Why? Because these children may have difficulties with spelling, but since it's like a habit or a routine for them to write their own name, they could have mastered it already. So they could have problems with new words to spell, but they could also be very good at writing their own names. But yeah, I also recognize that this would really affect their ability to spell out. So what do you think? So how do we decide on this one? In case of suppose he was sorry. That's that. I was reading. In case of supposed student, he was not able to perfect reading skills. His problems faced in learning was in all stages of reading. He won't say words or vocabulary of sounds other. Okay, Shivani, can you help me their answer for number 5?
Yes, they are saying that in case the student is not able to read, the next stage that comes, a vocabulary of sounds would also be difficult. So the most of them, it could be rote learning, but some may have a difficulty, some may not. So there are mixed answers of yes and no over here for the fifth question.
Okay, so how do we go about this? Shall we check it or no?
And a few of them say most children can write their name because it's usually rote,
Yeah,
but other
yes.
spellings have a difficulty.
Yes, I think it's really has to do with new words. Okay, so let's This is no. Okay, number 6, using accurate language while communicating and having a limited vocabulary. So what do you think for number
Yes,
6?
most of them are saying
Yes.
yes.
Yes, that's right. Because Benjur has problems with understanding stories. So probably because he lacks vocabulary skills. Okay, let me continue with numbers 7 up to, okay, so this one. Oh, sorry. Wait for a while. Sorry. Shivani, can you help me with this one?
Yes,
There's
ma'am. You'll have
already
to just click clear all.
clear all. Clear all. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Most welcome.
Okay, so let's go to number 7. So number 7 is pronouncing words, yes or no? Yes, okay, that's right. It was clearly stated there that yes, problems with pronouncing words. Okay, number 8, understanding the correct order of reading from left to right and up to bottom.
Yes, no, not
Yes,
mentioned.
not mentioned. What else? Not mentioned. Yes, shall
Stated.
not mentioned because
Not,
you can. Yeah,
but
yeah, I
the
saw the
child
answer.
reads slow. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the answer. So since he was reading slowly, probably he also has problems with directionality, meaning he's confused where to start. Is it from left to right? It's from up to down. So I'll answer this as yes. Okay, and then number 9. So we have displaying an interest in reading books or stories. So what do you think? No,
No,
no, no,
no.
no, no, no. Yes, no. Okay,
Majority
so
is
this one,
the struggle.
yes, struggle. Okay, so this one is no, it wasn't mentioned there. Okay, and then next we have number 10, recognizing letters uppercase and lowercase. No, no, okay, no. So
Not
it wasn't
mentioned.
mentioned. Yeah,
Yes,
not mentioned. Okay.
most
So
of them.
number 11, attempting to read by attending to picture clues and print. So what are your answers? Yes, yes,
Yes. Most of
yes.
them say yes for the 11th one. Yes, maybe.
Really?
Yes.
Yes. So the question is attempting to read by attending to picture clues and print. Okay. There's no mention there regarding there's no picture clues. It just said that he reads slowly. Okay, so this will be no. Okay, number 12, we have associating the sound of letters. So this one is easy.
They say
Okay,
yes.
yes, okay. So mispronouncing words also has to do with associating sound of letters. Number 13, identifying the beginning, middle, and ending sounds of words. Your answers, please. Yes, very good.
Yes is what most of them are saying.
Yes, very good. I really like our participants.
It's a
They're
part
so
of decoding.
interactive.
So, yeah.
Yes. Okay, I'll just sorry. So we're already on number 14. Can I just Okay, how about number 14? Identifying similar looking words with accuracy,
No.
like
Yes.
there, or PQ. Okay, so what are your answers? Yes, okay, yes, because it is also related to, okay, to his mispronouncing words difficulty. Okay, number 15, difficulties with finding letters in words. What do you think? Yes, okay, yes. Also with in relation to mispronouncing words. Okay. Or sorry, this one is due to his reading text or words slower than others, because probably he has difficulties finding letters in words, and then it's hard for him to decode. That's the reason for his slow reading. Okay, number 16 is finding words in a sentence.
Many say yes
Yes,
due to slow reading.
yes, that's correct. Okay, number 17, remembering the sequence of words, that is always reverse words while reading. Like, for example, reads do as wed. So the letters were reversed, and was as saw. So what do you think? So does Venture have letter or word reversals? Yes, sometimes it happens.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
No.
sometimes it happens. Most of them are yes.
Yes. Can you defend your answer, please?
Because he reads slowly is what one participant has told.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so that one could be also a problem. So he reverses words.
Because
That's
of
why he,
issues.
yes, yes, sure. Okay. Okay, next, number 18. Reading and often reading slowly, letter by letter. So the answers are yes. Okay, it was clearly mentioned there that he reads slowly. Okay, number 19. Reading has difficulty reading fluently, usually reading word by word. So what's your answer? Okay, everybody agree that it's yes.
Say yes for it,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes. 20, identifying the unfamiliar words and often guessing rather than using letter sound associations. Same, yes. Okay. And then 21, we have recognizing and remembering high frequency or sight words such as said, they, and was. What do you think for 21? No? Okay, no? Okay, not mentioned. Okay, so it wasn't mentioned. Okay, 22, recognizing and comprehending what has been read. So this is obvious. It was clearly stated, yes, it is a problem of Venture. Okay, 23, we have reading words or sentences correctly. That is adding or omitting words or parts of words when reading. Your answers, yes, yes, that's right. Because he mispronounces words, probably he also has problems with adding or omitting letters. Okay, so let me just go back. Okay. Okay, so now we're on number 24. knowing what venue he or she is in while reading. What's your answer? No, no. Okay, no. No, it wasn't mentioned in the case. Okay. So this one is no.
Not mentioned is what they are saying for the 24th. No,
Yes.
no,
No.
not mentioned.
Okay. Now we have number 25. So number 25, let me just get my... Okay. So writing or copying the correct letter formation, that is displaced letter reversals, or like BD or inversions UN. Yes, okay, most of them say yes. Yes, and this is evident with his spelling issues, spelling errors. Okay, number 26, copying with accuracy.
Yes, yes.
Yes, this is problem also. Yes. Can you defend your answer? Why yes? Why do you think it's his problem also? If he has problems with tracking words, it will transfer on to writing. Yeah, that would be the case. That could be
Poor reading.
It follows. Yeah, that's it. But I just like to share. One of my students has difficulties. He reverses words, but when I ask him to copy, he could copy it. But when he has to read something like that, he has problems with reversals. But when it comes to copying, it's like he can copy words. Okay. So next is number 27, learning to copy and write. So what's your answer? Okay, yes. Okay, so this would be also yes. Yes, copying issues as well. Okay, next is number 28. Has problems with sequencing letters correctly within words. That's your answer. So this is yes. Okay. And then 29, remembering shapes of letters and numerals. So what's your answer? Yes, no, no.
A few, no.
Yeah, actually,
yes, it's a mix that they're giving.
It's a mix, yeah. Actually, it wasn't mentioned there, so we'll have to check no. Number 30, using the correct capitalization and punctuation. So the answers, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so actually it wasn't mentioned also. Okay, number 31, writing neatly and legibly without errors. So this one doesn't have to do with spelling only, but in writing neatly and legibly. No? Okay, so that's right. The answer is no. And spelling. So it is obvious. The obvious answer is problems with spelling. Yes, of course. Okay, and number 33, writing with proper spacing between letters and words. No, it wasn't mentioned. Okay, 34. Staying within the margins of a page and writing on the line. 34 is not mentioned as well. Wow, you're becoming fluent in this one. Okay, and then let me just sorry. 34, we're done with 34, and then 35, planning and organizing ideas while writing. Was it mentioned? No. Okay, so it's no. Okay, and then the last one, expressing ideas in the form of complete and proper sentences. No, not mentioned. Okay. So for the total score, let me just, sorry. Okay. Okay, for this one, the total score, did you write down your answers? Okay, so I'll just, sorry I wasn't able to save it, but when we count the number of yes, if it's yes, we score it 1, and then if it's no, we score it with 0. So I tracked all our answers and there were 20 of them. Okay, so if the total score is 18 or above, so in our case it's 20, so it is an indication that Benjur probably has some or at risk of developing challenges in language, reading, and writing skills. Okay. Okay, let me go back to the next case. Okay, so here we have our case number 2. Okay, let me read the scenario. So Salama is a grade 7 student who attends regular math class. Since her elementary years, she had problems with memorizing the multiplication tables, calculating change when he buys from the grocery store, had problems with comparing values of money, got confused with the greater than and less than symbols, and had difficulty telling time by minutes and seconds. Nevertheless, her elementary teachers kept passing her to the next grade level. Okay, so now we are also going to identify the different numeracy skills challenges that Salama had encountered. Okay, so what are these? Can you please type in your answers? This time, be very specific so that we'll be able to look for it in the checklist. Okay, so I can see dyscalculia, math vocabulary skills. Okay, now you are really mentioning the different skills under numeracy. So what else? Number sense, very good. Number sense, memorizing. Okay, math vocabulary, very good. Calculation techniques, number sense. Okay, I think we're ready for the checklist. So let us go now to the checklist. Okay, so here is our numeracy skills observation checklist, and this adapted from the Common Core State Standards Math Checklist and Evaluation of Numeracy Skills. And it can be used with children between, again, ages of 6 to 16. Okay, so now let's go to the checklist. Okay, so let us review the problems of Salama. So this time, Salama has problems with memorizing multiplication tables. So this has to do with number facts. And she has problems with recalling them instantly. Also, she has problems with calculating techniques, specifically calculating change in when she needs to purchase something from the grocery store. Also, she has problems with proportional thinking or problems with comparing values of money. Also, she has problems with comparing again, this time with, she's confused between greater than and less than. And lastly, she has difficulty telling time. Okay, so she has counting issues as well. That's why probably she cannot recognize numbers in a clock. Okay, so let us begin with our checklist. Okay, number 1, in terms of math readiness skills. So does Salama have problems with understanding and following simple instructions like first, next, or others? What do you think?
Most of our participants are responding S and a combination of no because it's not mentioned in the cases.
Yeah, actually it wasn't mentioned there. So you're right, you're becoming very good at this. Okay, number 2, making estimations like big, small, or large. That's your answer.
Again, we have both S here, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, so yes, she has problems with it when it comes to calculation or estimation. Okay, so this would be yes. Okay, number 3, sorting or arranging objects based on specified characteristics like length, width, etc. It's your answer. So no, yes, that's correct. You're very good. So it wasn't mentioned. Next is decoding patterns. No, no. Okay, right. So it's no, not mentioned also. How about number 5, recognizing and decoding sequences? That's your answer. No. Yes. Yeah, that's right. So this is no. Wait, I'll just save it. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Okay, how about number 6, understanding number processes and concepts? Does Salama have problems with that?
We have a lot of S response, ma'am, to this question.
Yes, very good. Yes, that's right. Yes, because she has problems with comparing. So that's part of the processes and concepts. Number 7, recognizing and writing numbers. Yes, that's right. Probably yes, because she has difficulties telling time. So she might be having problems with recognizing numbers. Number 8 is counting fluently. Yes.
A lot of S response to it.
Yes. Counting fluently. Yes. Yes. Okay, so yeah, this is a yes also. She might be having problems with recognizing also because it's hard for her to count fluently. How about number 9? Counting objects accurately.
Number 9, we have mixed response. Yes, and also not mentioned in the case study.
No, okay, it wasn't mentioned actually. Okay. And then number 10, we have counting backward.
Again, number 10, there's mixed response, ma'am. Not mentioned along with the yes. Yeah.
Okay, so for this one, we have to relate this to he has problems calculating change. So to be able to calculate change, you need the skill in counting backwards. Like in small children, they do subtraction by counting backwards. So I would say that this is also her problem. Okay, number 11, understanding place values.
11 is yes.
Yes, okay, I agree. This is yes because she has problems with comparing values of money. Okay. Number 12, doing simple arithmetic operations. Okay, yes, okay, that is correct because she has problems with calculating change. So, problems with subtraction in this area. Okay. Number 13, recognizing or using arithmetic operation signs accurately.
Again, a lot of S response to this question, ma'am.
Yes, that would be a yes also. That is a calculation problem. Okay. Number 14, using fingers, objects, manipulatives, or tally marks to do basic arithmetic operations.
We have a lot of yes, and in between no, which mentions not mentioned.
Okay, actually it wasn't mentioned there. Okay, so we don't know her skill if what she uses it to be able to do operations. Okay, so let me just clear it for a while. So we come now to number 15. Okay, now is number 15, recognizing the relationship between various arithmetic operations. What's your answer? Okay, that's a yes. Yeah. A yes. Number 16, doing word problems. What do you think?
Again, a lot of
Yes.
S response to it, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, so this one it wasn't mentioned there in the problem, in the situation. Okay, number 17, recalling math information or facts after memorization. Okay, this one is easy. She has problems with yes. She has problems with multiplication table, so it has to do with memorization skills. Okay, number 18, remembering the multiplication table.
This is
So
an
this one also a very unanimous yes. Okay, number 19, understanding and using formulas and procedures.
There's a lot of S response to this.
Yes, very good. Okay, number 20, remembering steps and procedures.
And a lot of S response because she has difficulties, right? Memorizing.
Yes. Yes, that's right as well. Okay, number 20 is yes. Okay, number 21, applying math to solve real-world problems. Does she have this difficulty? Yes, a resounding yes, because in the situation, she has problems with application like calculating change, telling time. So those are all practical, real life problems. Okay, 22, handling or using money. Which one? This one is obviously it's yes. Okay, number 23, reading time accurately.
23.
Also a resounding yes. Very good. Okay. Let's go to, we're almost on the last part. Okay, so 24, using calculators and doing accurate operations. What do you think?
It's again a lot of yes response to it, and few are saying no, not mentioned in the case.
Yeah, it wasn't mentioned in the case. Okay, number 25, gathering, analyzing, and interpreting data.
Not mentioned in the case.
Yes, very good. Okay, doing silent or mental calculations and giving solutions.
I think 26 is yes.
Yes.
Problem calculating.
Yes, that's correct because she has difficulties calculating change. It has also to do with mental addition, subtraction. Okay, so 27, need multiple repeated instructions to complete work.
27 again, we have a lot of yes and also few no's coming not mentioned in the case.
It wasn't mentioned there. 28, we have a miss out or skip steps or procedures. Okay, so this is also yes, because in solving calculating for change as well, you have to follow certain procedures. And if she has problems with that, she probably missed out or skipped steps. 29, jump to conclusions or solutions without thinking through or skipping steps. Maybe, yes, maybe.
On the case discussion. Yeah.
Okay, so this one wasn't mentioned as well. Okay, number 30, do numerical tasks slowly.
A lot of yes to this question. So.
Yes, that's right. And then 31, show reluctance in trying any math questions or avoiding math questions.
A few not mentioned response and a few yes to it.
So 31 is not mentioned as well. Okay, so let me just to the next. Okay, so we're now on number 32, keep his or her math work incomplete.
A lot of yes response to it and few not mentioned.
Okay, it wasn't mentioned as well. Number 33, get nervous about doing any mathematical calculations.
33 is not mentioned.
Not mentioned, right? And then have challenges in meeting the grade or age level numeracy skills. Yes, very good. Yes. Okay, so the total score is 19. So I got 19 from all the responses. So for this, okay. So the interpretation would be if the score is 17 or above, it is an indication that the child may be at risk of developing arithmetic challenges also. So Salama is also at risk of developing these challenges in numeracy. Okay, now we move on to the last case, which is
I'm also going to interrupt you.
yes, yes.
Few minutes left for us to actually take in the Q&A also. So if you could go through the case quickly along with the scoring and also summarize the session in another 10 minutes, that would be helpful, ma'am, so that we can address few questions of our participants.
Sure. Okay. So for the last scenario, so NEPAC is a grade 2 pupil who attends regular classes His teachers always remind him to sit properly while writing and position his paper in a comfortable way. His handwriting is hard to decipher, for letters seem to overlap with each other. Moreover, the sizes of the letters switch from big to small in a single word when he writes. And also, the spelling or the spacing between words is not consistent. So how can we help NEPAC's teacher to identify his specific handwriting challenges? So for this one, we also have a tool. I will no longer discuss this in detail, but it will be forwarded to all of you, so you can just look into it. And let me just show you how it looks. Okay, so this one is the handwriting skills observation checklist, and it's taken from or adapted from the handwriting instruction by L.R. Rudy. Okay, so this contains observations on, first is performance observation. So you just check if he has that, or if your student or your child has these problems, and also with letter formation. And so these are all listed here. Also with handwriting fluency, letter size, slant, and spacing. Okay, so these are 24 items, and if the child gets 12 or above, so that's also an indication of handwriting challenges or difficulties. Okay, let me go back to the presentation. Okay, so now after we use these screening tools, we will ask now, so what are the steps after this one, after screening or identifying the different difficulties of these learners. So now after completing the checklist, to be able to back up our data, so that is only one tool, the checklist. And then we still need to gather more data. So we can do this by doing indirect observation, which is gathering secondhand information from parents, caregivers, to validate our observation. And also we can use direct observation, or directly observing the child in the natural environment and looking at his or her learning difficulties. Okay. And then after that, we can analyze the gathered data and we can make a hypothesis. So the hypothesis is backed up with all the information that you gathered. And then we could test also the hypothesis. You can give the child different materials to answer, to also validate our the information we gathered. If we really gathered, or if we really measured or saw the different difficulties. And then very important as well, as if in this case, the 3 cases that we had, they all are at risk of developing challenges. So they could be referred to for further evaluation. So we need to ask for help from licensed professionals, for example, to conduct achievement tests or any other test to really identify and know if the child has this condition. And then this evaluation is also very important for recommendations, meaning after the child is diagnosed, there will be recommendations given, like if the child needs therapy or what placement program should the child be. Okay, so now these are the takeaways for this presentation. First is literacy and numeracy skills are 2 major areas of academic difficulties among students, and these are very necessary skills for these children to be able to move on to a higher grade level. And next is screening tools help parents and teachers determine specific literacy and numeracy challenges. So just like we had a while ago. And also, we need to be thorough in using screening tools to really identify the specific learning difficulties of students. So you saw in the checklist part that we had to really identify the specifics to be able to figure out also what the learning difficulties are. And lastly, further evaluation by licensed professionals is needed to make an accurate diagnosis and give appropriate recommendations. Okay, so even though we have all these screening tools, we still have to ask for help and refer a child to licensed professionals. So with that, thank you so much for listening and for participating.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for a practical session and for taking us through the checklist completely and orienting us about the different process that is involved in the whole process of assessing and scoring a checklist per se. Thank you for keeping it very practical and helpful for all of us by going through the checklist in detail. If you could stop sharing, ma'am, before we begin the Q&A session, I'll take our participants through a few informations. So dear participants, following this session, we would start with our module 5, which would focus on the strategies and techniques to address academic challenges faced by children with special needs. We're starting with the strategies and techniques to improve attention and perceptual skills in children with special needs, which will be happening on the 2nd of December by Madam Geeta Gopi, and followed by we'll have another session on strategies and techniques to improve memory skills in children with special needs, which will be conducted by Dr. Grace on the 9th of December. Both of the session would be happening 4 p.m. Indian time, 5:30 p.m. Indonesian time, and 6:30 p.m. Singapore or Philippines time. Check out the link that's being shared right now in the chat box to register yourself and book your slot, and also share the link with anyone who you think would benefit from it. Moving on, I'll now take you all through how is that you can register for different events over a platform. All you have to do is log into your Ability page with your Ability credentials and choose the event that is of interest to you and click on register for this event button. Once you've done that, there are certain provisions you would be able to get along with it. You would be able to post your questions and submit it to the expert speaker. The questions that gets the most upvote would be the one that would be prioritized by the speaker for answering. Not only this, members who are with Ability for a very long period of time would know, as part of each of the workshops that you attend, exclusive resources which are crafted along with expert guidance would be shared with you all. As part of today's workshop, you would be receiving all the 3 checklists which ma'am has gone through in detail, along with other materials. Do check the link out that's being shared right now in the chat box and take a note of all the checklists that is of use to you, and let us know how helpful this resource has been for you so that we'll be able to construct materials that is of use to you. Finally, you'll be able to find all the related events that is of interest on similar lines to you on the related events section. And to keep a track of all the events that you attended over our platform, you will be able to do it by clicking on My Events tab. Not only that, if you have been creating resources for children with special needs, this is a platform and avenue for you. You can be an Ability Premium Resource Creator by creating your profile, adding the resources that you've created for your children with special needs, and sharing it with our community members with over 40,000 educators and parents. Not only this, finally, we also have Ability Inclusion Champion, which is a community initiative. By being an Ability Inclusion Champion, you would get access to free and amazing resources and tools which you can share with your community members, and you can run local online and offline support group. You'll be able to lead initiatives to spread awareness about special needs and also meet new friends and learn from each other. We have about over 400 volunteers who have taken their first step to become Abilities Inclusion Champion. If you're interested to become Ability Inclusion Champion or join us as a premium resource creator, do check the link out that's being shared right now in the chat box and register your interest. Our team will get in touch with you. Now, ma'am, can we begin with our Q&A session for today? Are you ready to take in your first question?
Hi, Revati.
Yes.
I'm having a problem facing your garble.
Are you able to hear me fine now, ma'am?
On my end.
Yeah, I think.
So I can't really, while you were discussing, and then right now it's still garbled.
Okay. So do you want
So
to turn your camera off maybe? I'll also try turning my camera off to support the bandwidth. Just see if my voice
I'm
is
having
audible to
problems
you.
with your audio cuts. It's garbled. I can
Just see if you're able to hear me right away, ma'am. If you could put your video
really
off.
hear the complete statements or words. Okay.
Yes, if you could just hear my voice, and if you could turn your video off, maybe that would support your bandwidth. Let me know once your connection is fine.
It's still garbled on my part.
Okay, do you want to put your video off, maybe to support your bandwidth? Teacher Lea, are you able to hear me? Okay, I'd request one of my team members to get in touch with Teacher Lea. Ma'am, are you able to hear me?
I cannot get
So while Teacher Lea joins us, I would like to again inform all of you that the checklist that we have prepared for the current workshop has already been shared with all of you all. I would request my team members to again share the link for the checklist. Do check the link out and let us know how helpful this checklist has been for you all, so that we'll be able to devise more resources that would help and support all your needs. Not only that, I would like to again take you all through the next component of ability inclusion champion, and also the resource creator platform. If you are a resource creator and have been creating resources to help children with special needs, this is an opportunity for you will be able to create your profile and share the resources that you've been creating with the members in our community. We have about 40,000 members who are educators and parents. If you're interested to contribute and share with the community your resources and materials that you have, this is a platform for you all. Do check the link out that's being shared right now in the chat box and register your interest. Our team members will get in touch with you. And also, by becoming an ability inclusion champion, you would get access to lead initiatives to spread awareness about special needs, and also run offline and support groups. So if you're interested to be an ability resource inclusion champion, do check out the link that's being shared right now in the chat box. We'll just give another minute's time to see if Lea ma'am is trying to join us. We'll try and take few questions if time avails us. Otherwise, we'll try and answer the questions via and share it with all of you all. So I hear that Lea ma'am is trying to reconnect. We'll just give her a minute. And also, do not forget to register yourself for our upcoming events. We are going to start with our module 5, which would focus exclusively on the intervention and strategies to support academic challenges. So all of you have questions on how to address the different academic challenges children with special needs are facing. These are the workshops that you have to check out on. So I'm going to reiterate that we're going to start with our first component of cognitive challenges, which would be addressing on attention and perceptual skills, which would be happening on the 2nd of December, following which we'll be addressing on the memory challenges, which are all crucial skills which are very, very useful for children, especially in the academic domain. If you're interested for that, I'd request my team members to share the link again in the chat box. Do check that out and register yourself. Following the cognitive part of addressing the academic challenges, we'd move on to the core remedial intervention, where we'd be starting with that of remedial language intervention. The link for the same would also be available over our platform. If you go on and log into our platform, you'd be able to find details of all the upcoming workshops. Do check all of that out and register your interest and book your slots today. We'll just give a minute for ma'am to log in. I'm sure this session was useful for all of you all. How many of you all did benefit from the checklist that was shared? Let us know in the chat box by typing an S. And if it was worth your time and efforts to get to know the whole component of the checklist in detail. And also let us know certain resource materials which you would want us to devise for all of you all. So we will, along with our expert supervision, try and build them for you all. So use this time right now and let us know what are some of the resource materials you would like us to devise for all of you all. I see a few of the responses in the chat box, which says it was useful to all of you all. It's good to know. It's of great value. If you have any recommendations for us in terms of certain resource materials that you're looking out for, do let us know. I see Lea ma'am back with us. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your patience to stay with us. Lea ma'am, are you able to hear us now? Okay, I see a few mentions on sensory processing. Okay, I'd request my team members to make a note of all the suggestions that's coming in. Lea ma'am, are you able to hear me now? You're in mute, Lea ma'am. Yes. Are you able to hear me now? Ma'am, we are not able to hear you yet. Are you able to hear me? Lea ma'am, you're on mute. If you could unmute yourself, I think.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, finally we're able to hear you.
Because my laptop is having problems, it cannot connect to the internet.
Not a problem, ma'am. Now we'll try and take few questions possible. First, I would like to appreciate all our participants for maintaining and staying with us and for all your patience. Let's take few important questions that we have for today's session, ma'am. Are you ready for your first question?
Sure, I am.
Yeah, the first question is from Ms. Farida, who wants to know that in case if the child has both literacy and numeracy challenges, what is the first challenge that has to be addressed by a special educator or an educator? Do we simultaneously address both, or do we have to prioritize one over the other? What are your takes on it?
Okay, so by using these screening tools that we discussed a while ago, you can see there the different learning difficulties. So by looking at those skills, you can prioritize. So prioritize skills which are very important, or the foundational skills. So you can address them uh, um, simultaneously because in our general education curriculum, you are teaching the child the skills, meaning you teach them numeracy and literacy skills at the same time. But we really have to see that we target the foundation skills first. So the prerequisite skills, because these are going to be the most important skills that the child would need to be able to move on to the next higher level, or to the complex skills. So first, prioritize. By using this checklist, you can see which areas the child has a lot of problems. So maybe that area could be targeted first. And then very important is that we really look into the basic foundational skills.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your insights on it. So go about with the severity of the concerns that's seen in the area is the way to go about it. Next, we have a question on very similar lines from Ms. Clipsy, who wants to know what are certain things that educators need to keep in mind if they're planning to devise their own checklist. Do you have any inputs or suggestions for them?
Okay, so in devising checklist, you really have to see or to determine first the different areas. So as you saw on the checklist that we provided you, there are different areas. So you can use also the information you learned from the discussion about the different areas on literacy and numeracy. So try to look into it and devise a checklist that would be consistent also with your curriculum, because for different countries and for different curriculums in schools, like curriculum for private schools differ from the curriculum in the public schools. So you really have to look into the contents as well of the curriculum, and then look into the different areas, skill areas of literacy and numeracy, and then from there you can already um, devise or design your checklist that would be also appropriate on the context of your students.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your insights on it to understand the curriculum of the child and also plan according to the curriculum so that we get to know whether the child is able to meet the proficiency level of his or her grade level. That would be the way to go about it. Next, we have a question from Ms. Rowena and multiple others who wants to know, you've discussed about the checklist and you've also spoken about the component of assessment. So some of the participants are still confused on what would be the step to go about after checklist. So what would come first? Do we have to go in for assessment and then comes the checklist to understand the science? Or what is the key steps that are involved in the whole process, ma'am? If you could reiterate the whole process once again for us, that would be helpful.
Okay, so initially, teachers and parents have this suspicion that a child might be having certain difficulties. So specifically when the child is already attending school, so that's when the problems come in, because many of the skills, prerequisite skills and also academic skills are already needed in the school. So first is that you will observe that there is some certain difficulties. So what you should do is to first you can use this checklist, and then after so that you have sort of data to really tell that if this child needs an further evaluation, because when you use this checklist and then you find out that there are not a lot of issues, for example, that the child is having. So maybe it's just you just need to go or to adjust your strategies in teaching for teachers, because most of the time it's not because we do not know how to teach, it's because the strategies that we are implementing to the child is not consistent or is not coherent with the learning style of the child. So by using these tools, this checklist, you can really know if the child needs further evaluation. So after you determine, you are already sure that the child needs to be evaluated, and then you go for evaluation or diagnosis from the licensed professionals. Or and also you can also help with if there's no resources for standardized assessments, you can also do psychoevaluation or psychoeducational evaluation, which means you are to gather data, you form your assessment team, you include other professionals as well, like the therapist, the other caregivers, the parents, the teachers, and everyone involved with the child. And then after doing so, you can meet, you can discuss what interventions has to be made. But it is also very important to really seek diagnosis so that we will be guided accordingly.
So the process is first use the checklist to identify the early signs, and if the signs are getting met, go in for a diagnosis or formal assessment, and then have a meeting and communication with the parents and teachers, bring all the collaborators together. Thank you for reiterating the major steps, ma'am. Next, we have one question on similar lines from Ms. Natasha and also Genevieve, who wants to know, so in case if the child is at risk, once we administer the checklist, the child has a higher score and is at risk for academic challenges, how is that we can convey it to the parents? Because not every parent is open about taking it, and how is that we can guide them for formal assessment? If you could share your insights on it.
Okay, so in communicating with the parent, we really have to be very objective. Okay, so we have to let the parents know that we are telling this to the parent because this issue or this problem has to be addressed, and also by we can confidently tell the parents about these issues that we observe if we really have gathered data that are factual and comprehensive, meaning we just do not use one tool, just like we use this checklist and then tell the parent that, oh, your child is having difficulties and at risk in this challenges. So we really have to gather more information, and by doing so, the parent could see that our what we're coming from. Okay, so make sure that you have all the data needed, so that when the parent asks you or question you, why are you telling me this, or why are you saying that my child has difficulties with this and that, you can show the parents that these are the facts and these are the data that I have gathered, and I am telling you this not to 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 make to put the child on a bad light, but for us to be able to help your child well.
So reassuring to the parents and giving them the long-term picture is really, really important. When you mentioned about gathering data and observing the child for a very long time, we have another question from Ms. Jane, who wants to know how long should the observation period be for the child. So in case if I have to mark the checklist for one of my child who has learning challenges, how long should I observe, and on what basis in order to make it the assessment is reliable, how long would it be ideal for me to observe the child as an educator and rate the child, and what are some of the other things that I need to keep in mind to avoid any bias during assessment?
Okay, so in our practice, actually, we do behavior assessment, but this one is we get baseline data, and from there we list down or we identify certain issues that we need to observe. So it depends upon the severity of the condition. For example, we need to observe at least 3 to 5 behaviors. So it would take us like 4 or 5 sessions to be able to really gather comprehensive data, because in gathering observation, we also consider the different settings. So we observe the child in different settings, and through observation, we can compare if the problem, for example, manifests in this particular situation or in another situation. So
it would really depend on how severe or the challenges are.
So having a long period of observation is very, very crucial component to it, to understand if that is manifesting in different settings and what is the severity of the concern per se. Let's take the last question for today, ma'am. So the question is from Miss Huma, who wants to know, as special educators dealing with children with special needs, in most situations, there are always comorbid conditions that are also seen. In case of academic challenges, there's also some behavioral or developmental challenge seen, or issues with speech, which are always comorbid. So what can be done in such situations? Is it ideal to use multiple tools, or what would be the way and approach to address this situation?
Okay. So there are different types of assessment, and these tools that we discussed, the screening tools, which are non-standardized, can be used to measure or to identify learning difficulties. But there are other assessments like functional behavior assessment, which deals with behaviors, to identify behaviors and the functions of behaviors. And also with the developmental delays and other tools. So you will need professionals for that to really tell you what is the specific level of functioning the child is, and for you also to be able to identify the present level of functioning, which is very important in designing programs and intervention. So depending on the need of the child, we will identify the purpose of that child for having or asking help for assessment. So assessment should be holistic. So you cannot just use one tool and then make a final diagnosis that or final assessment that this is the condition. So we really have to be mindful of the tools, or what do you really want to assess, and then we will match it on the appropriate tools to use also.
So understanding the need and the requirement of the child and having a holistic way to approach assessment is the key aspect to it. Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a practical session and taking us through the whole component of the checklist very, very easily and beautifully in a way that all of us could understand. And thank you, dear participants, for your patient attending of the session and also supporting us throughout, irrespective of our technical glitch. I'd now like to ask Lea ma'am her experience and her final thoughts to all our participants today.
Okay, so thank you so much everyone for all the overwhelming participation. I really enjoyed this session, and it's a success. It's my third time to facilitate a workshop, and I just want to leave the message that assessment is really very important, and we really have to learn how to do it, because it's not easy to do. And so, and also I want you to keep in mind that assessment should be holistic, and we have to consider that every child has different individual needs. So it would also matter what assessment tool we use, so that we'll be able to really help the child achieve and progress by helping him with the instructions, because we were able to really identify the problem. So that would be it, and good evening everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us.
What a beautiful note to end the session is with. Assessment is actually holistic and has to be customized for the child's need, and it's a vast arena in itself, and we've just touched the surface level with it with that of our checklist per se. Thank you, dear participants. I've seen that the feedback link has been shared with you all. I'd request my team members to again share the feedback link in the chat box. Do let us know how your experience has been with us during this workshop, so that we'll be able to improve the experience with all of you all. And I'd also like to inform all the participants that all the questions with regard to how is that we can plan interventions would all be covered in our upcoming module 5, which is academic strategies and techniques module. To register for those events, and also for all of you who have questions with regard to the presentations and the resources, all of that would be shared with you all over a period in a 3 to 4 days time. Rest be assured with all of you all. I'd like to again reiterate that we have our module 5, which is the academic intervention module, which would be beginning from the December 2nd. The first workshop would be on strategies and techniques to improve attention and perceptual skills, followed by strategies and techniques to improve memory skills. The first session would be conducted by Madam Geeta Gopi on the 2nd of December, and the second session would be from Dr. Grace, which would happen on the 9th of December, 4 p.m. Indian time, 5:30 p.m. Indonesian time, and 6:30 p.m. Philippines time. The link for the same is being shared right now. Do share it with anyone who you think would benefit from it. Until we see you for the next time, it's a big bye from Team Ability. Take care and stay safe, all of you.